10 tips and tricks. How do you remember English vocabulary? Mian spoken English course. From the thrill of your first conversation with a native speaker to the cerebral challenge of learning grammatical rules, there are many rewarding aspects to learning a language, but there's no getting around it. You will have to memorize a boatload of terms at some points. While studying English vocabulary lists is not fun, every new word you learn is another step closer to being understood. Here are some of our best tips for quickly learning new English terms. 10 simple way to remember English vocabulary. Scientists may one day devise a method for humans to download dictionaries directly into our heads. In the meantime, here are 15 vocabulary building strategies for English learners. 1. In moderation, use flashcards. Is it better to use flashcards or not? Some teachers believe they are a good approach to learn minor things in large groups. Others argue that memorizing words with flashcards removes them from their surroundings, resulting in the loss of essential layer of meaning. Flashcards are a very valuable tool in our opinion. They have a place in your language learning tool set if you're just getting started. As a result, as soon as you can practice whatever term you learn with flashcards in various scenarios. If you are learning a lot of food terminology, for example, read a recipe in English to see how they are used in cerebral practice. On your phone, there are numerous free flashcard apps to choose from. You can learn a few new vocabulary terms whenever you have a spare moment using this. They frequently include fascinating vocabulary quizzes to put you to the test. Here are a few of our favorites. Memorize teeny cards. Memorize is fantastic. See our review. Light word power Quizlet. Make your own setups rather than relying on pre-made ones for the greatest outcomes. This way you can study terms that you have already encountered in your English language studies and will be familiar with their context from the start. The process of crafting will also assist you in learning the word more quickly. Study examples of sentences. Another reason why learning words in context is so important in practice. Words are sometimes utilized in a very different way than you may expect. In actuality, many native English speakers use the words to catch while traveling by rail or bus. For examples, it is common to hear phrases like every weekday I catch the bus at 7:30 a.m. We are taking the train overnight. You could describe the verb to catch as to receive and hold or to capture. If you knew it as a single word, this is the correct definition. However, if you only study this, a normal sentence like the one above will seem strange to you. That's why many individuals swear by sentence mining, which entails memorizing list of complete sentences. Fans argue that it allows them to apply new terminology more quickly because they recall the syntax and popular applications right away. Make the most of it or lose it, you it or lose it. as the idiom goes in English, fitness levels, automobiles, engines, and relationships are all examples of things that weaken or stop performing without frequent use. It is especially true of new terminology. To use it or lose it. Every learner has experienced that experience of forgetting a word they had previously learned due to a lack of practice. Learn new words the proper way. This may seem obvious, but if you keep hearing a word and don't know what it means, look it up as soon as possible. This is easier than ever in the age of Google Translate. However, some individuals believe that Google Translate and dual language dictionaries might cause a lot of misunderstandings because many terms do not translate directly between two languages. My preferred method of looking up a new word it is to use Google Pictures. If it's a noun, strive to do so because seeing an image before reading a definition is helpful. That's a great notion for nouns we use after all. Don't have any language. My second option is to look up the word in an English dictionary, and my third option is to utilize an English to native language dictionary like Google Translate. Make a list of words. Writing new words out by hand is so last century. Surely language acquisition has progressed in the digital age. You would assume so, but you would be wrong. We identified numerous research that show that writing new material down with a pen and paper increases your chances of remembering it. Nobody knows what the science is behind this. Perhaps it's simply because writing anything down takes longer than typing in. Perhaps it's because handwriting necessitates more deliberate movement. In any case, this is an indirectly useful tip. Always have a notebook on hand. You will encounter new words that you do not comprehend every time you are exposed to English. It's a fantastic opportunity every time you detect a new word. Get a notepad dedicated to your new English vocabulary and jot down each new term that interests you. This is a good study strategy since each of your notebook words is associated with its own memory, providing you a stronger motive to recall them. Start small for each English study session. Attempt writing down 5 new terms. Your notebook will quickly become a valuable resource. Experiment with plural forms and varied tenses. English grammar can be brutal, as every ESL learner knows. There are numerous odd rules and harsh exceptions. It can be beneficial to learn some new words in their plural or past tense forms when learning new terms. This gives you some extra grammatical practice and makes it easier to employ those words in real life circumstances. When learning terms with irregular past tenses or plural forms, this is also quite useful. For example, because people is used frequently, it is worth understanding it independently from the singular person. Use Memonic Device. Many people swear by mnemonics as a method of memorizing. A mnemonic is a weird image or story that students create to help them recall the meaning of a word. If you were attempting to remember the Spanish word to fit caber, you might imagine a man trying to squeeze a beer into a cab's passenger seat or taxi. The two sounds you need to remember are cab and burr, as well as the meaning of the term to fit in the strange mental image. The wilder and sillier the vegan, the more likely it is to be remembered. Memonic take a little creativity to come up with, but they are quite powerful. Mix it up. If you need to acquire a large amount of terminology quickly, such as for a test, don't rely only on a flashcard software. Your brain requires new experiences to stay engaged. It may appear foolish to introduce new terminology in unconventional ways, yet it may be incredibly successful. You could attempt post it notes with new phrases in areas where you see them frequently in daily life: the bathroom mirror, the kettle, the fridge. If you roommates don't mind making a recording of oneself saying a list of new vocabulary and its translations and listening to it while doing something else. Make some old school flashcards or write your definitions by hand. Continue to read. Once you've learned the fundamentals of English, you can begin learning new vocabulary in the same way that toddlers do, by making educated uh, predictions about an unknown word based on the terms that are commonly used surrounding it. For example, you may not have learned the term grumbled, but it you read the sentence: the pig grunted loudly and the other animals on the farm were terrified. You've probably guessed correctly that this is the English name for a pig noise. Please subscribe my channel.